everybody. Thank you for watching these training videos as we are talking about life groups and the direction that God has led us in our life groups. You know, one of the things that has made more of an impact than just about anything else in my life was my time at Southeastern Seminary. When I got to Southeastern, I knew it was a special place, but the leadership there under Dr. Danny Aiken really gave our seminary a laser point focus. And I'll never forget walking into my first seminary classroom, the mantra, the motto of that whole seminary was that every classroom was to be a Great Commission classroom. And that really just shaped my ministry at the time as a student pastor. That was really, I took that ball and just ran with it. And it has defined the ministry that I've had at the church in South Carolina that I was at and here at Taylor Road. Because their approach at Southeastern was, regardless of what class you're taking, whether Baptist history, philosophy, music, whatever it was, they wanted every classroom to be focused on the Great Commission. So how can you live out Jesus' command to make disciples of all nations in any field that you were studying? And you know that has carried over and it's probably pretty evident to you that is what defines us here at Taylor Road. Our purpose statement as a church is based off of Matthew 28:18 through 20, the Great Commission. And our purpose statement here is that we exist for the glory of God, to introduce people to Jesus and teach them to follow Him. That's the Great Commission. We didn't get that out of a leadership book or Lifeway curriculum or anything like that. We got that from Jesus Himself. That's His parting command, His marching orders for His followers. And so the Great Commission defines what we do here as a church. But unfortunately, I think sometimes the temptation is to know that catchy slogan, to know that mantra, and say, yeah, that's what we do. But I think sometimes we fail to see how that is to permeate every aspect of our church. So our student ministry is a Great Commission student ministry. Our children's ministry, Great Commission student ministry. Music, I mean, you guys in worship, you were leading us to follow Jesus, right? And introducing people to Jesus through your music to the glory of God. But what about life groups? You know, traditionally in the past, we've had Sunday school and home groups, and we have felt led over the last year or so to merge those two into one model called life groups. And I want us to begin to think about our life groups as Great Commission groups, right? The Great Commission is the DNA of who we are. In fact, that's evident everywhere in this church, and again, we want it to be in the DNA of our life groups as well. Yeah,
even several years ago, we came up with a new logo for our church, and we wanted it to portray what our mission statement was. And so when you look at our logo, you'll see a cross, and if you look at it close enough, you'll realize there's a T and an R in the cross, simply recognizing that we are Taylor Road Baptist Church. But also there's two arrows, and those arrows are very important. And they represent what our mission statement is all about when we get into to introducing people to Jesus and teaching them to follow Him. But the first arrow, that's obviously pointing to the cross, to Jesus, is to reach people. So that first arrow represents reaching people, that first part of our mission statement. And then the second arrow simply means to teach. And so we wanted, the beginning a few years ago, we wanted that just to even be seen, and and this is one way that we're trying to begin to let you know that and use that as a teaching tool as well. That we're pointing people to Jesus, to the cross, which is, and then the two arrows represent reaching and teaching, and so that's, you talking about permeating everything that we do. We started a few years ago with that logo, and wanted to trickle down and really affect every aspect of our ministry.
That's right. You know, and as we think about life groups being more than just your traditional Sunday school class, where we meet together for an hour or so a week, and we shake hands, drink coffee, do whatever, pray, and then hear a Bible study lesson. And those things are important. We're going to talk about those things throughout this course of material, but how do we begin to transition our thinking into being Great Commission life groups? And I think that begins with, we have a choice, right? I think most groups are going to do one of two things. So explain that a little bit.
Well,
how we begin thinking through this.
Well, first of all, I think one of the most important things is being intentional about who we are trying to reach. This first part of, as we think about it, the Great Commission and it telling us to reach people, we have to be intentional about who we're reaching and really be looking at who is out there that we can be have an impact in their life. And there's three people that I think here at our church and that we want us to be focused on and through our life groups be intentional about reaching. And the first one is obviously, and most importantly, those who don't know Christ. We have to be mindful of those that are lost and that without Jesus, and how can we effectively reach them. And our life groups is a very important place and a very vital place that we can begin to do that. So we need to be intentional about reaching those who don't know Christ. We also want to be plugging in and connecting those that are visiting Taylor Road, maybe those that aren't members and aren't connected, but they're visiting Taylor Road, and we want to move them beyond just coming to worship and kind of watching from the outside, but really plug them in and bring them in through our life groups. And then the third person that we're trying to be intentional about is those who are church members, but they're not plugged into a life group. So they've been a part of our church, they're part of our church family, but just not plugged in and beginning to make relationships, becoming a part of a missional community as well that can participate in this Great Commission life group. So those are three people that we really want to be intentional about reaching.
Right. So here's where we are is, and every group has to decide, are we going to be a Great Commission life group? And I think one of the two things that we tend to do is we either build walls as a group, right? We're the same group of people, us four, no more, and this is our comfort zone.
Yeah, it's so natural. When we got our friends, people that we're used to.
Yeah.
We just kind of want to huddle together.
That's right, and that's I think there's that natural relationship, but I think the temptation again is to build walls, or we can open doors. And that's what a Great Commission life group does, is, as Seth was talking about, people who don't know Christ. We're going to talk about through this course, how are we as life groups intentionally reaching the lost? Are we a place that opens doors for people to meet Jesus? Are we a place of an open door where people who are visiting can get assimilated into the life of a church and build relationships? And those who may be on the fringes, they're members, they may attend worship, but they need to build deeper relationships. And so as we begin this time together, and you have the manual there with you, I want you to take a few minutes and look through those questions. We've provided some questions for you, and really search your heart, answer those questions honestly between you and the Lord, and begin to pray through and think through what it means for your life group to be a Great Commission life group.